Stonehenge and more incredible ancient feats of engineering. Ancient feats and where to find them. If you've ever wondered how they built Stonehenge, shifted Easter Island's Moai statues into place, or how many workers it took to create still-standing gems, we've compiled a list of the most awe-inspiring ancient feats of engineering. The following entries may surprise you, but all are marvels of technical prowess, impressive innovation, and a staggering amount of manual labor. AD 1400 to 1650, Moai, Easter Island. One of the most baffling feats of ancient engineering is the Moai statues on Easter Island. It took 1 year to create each of these 800-plus monolithic statues using basic stone picks called toki. These simple handheld chisels were made of rare rock, hence the statue's high status, and stand atop chieftain tombs. How they were transported into position is another impressive feat, considering they each weigh up to 80 tons. Many believe they were rolled on logs, some think they were transported upright, and a few reckon they were rocked from side to side to imitate walking. AD 1438 to 1471, Sacsayhuaman, Peru. This archaeological site was once the location of a sacred Incan building constructed from giant boulders weighing up to 125 tons each. The tower walls are made up of dry stones in zigzag format. Check out the whopping size of the lower wall stones, which are so well aligned that not even a sheet of paper can be inserted between them. Historians are still baffled by how the stones were transported nearly 2 miles, 3 kilometers, from the quarry to the site. Just how did they do it? The ancient Incan Empire constructed this beautifully planned royal estate amid landslide-prone slopes and heavy rain. Their genius revolves around water. Once they built a stone canal and implemented an efficient water drainage system, the 170-odd structures practically fell into place. With the absence of mortar, they used ashlar to fit carved granite stones together, and with no steel or iron tools they used bronze and stone. It's also believed that they used levers and ramps to transport the 15-ton stones into place. Fascinatingly, it's estimated that up to 60% of construction is underground. AD 1200 to 1275, Mesa Verde, USA. Built during the Pueblo III period, AD 1150 to 1300, Mesa Verde consists of 600 ancient cliff-top dwellings. Carved into sandstone alcoves, most sit on firm bedrock, and it's understood that residents moved here for greater protection against natural elements. While these smaller residences consisted of a few rooms, by far the most famous is Cliff Palace, which contained over 150 rooms and 23 kivas, a large circular underground room used for rituals. As arduous as it must have been to build, nobody knows why the village was eventually abandoned. AD 1181 to 1221, underground churches of Lalibela, Ethiopia. The rock-hewn churches of Lalibela consist of 11 medieval buildings carved out of rock. Their monolithic size feature chiseled doors, windows, and columns, along with an extensive system of drainage ditches, ceremonial passages, and catacombs. Plunging some 131 to 164 feet, 40-50 m, into the ground, inside are mural paintings and former royal residences. These staggering feats of engineering are widely believed to date to King Lalibela's reign, AD 1181 to 1221. AD 200 to 900, Tikal, Guatemala. The elaborate Tikal complex stands out among the dense green jungle. Among the ancient Mayan temples, shrines, and necropolises is the Temple of the Two-Headed Snake, one of the tallest pre-Columbian structures in the Western Hemisphere. The structures were mostly built using plaster surface stone temples raised on great platforms, featured wide staircases, and were decorated with detailed stucco facades. Their architectural patterns are believed to have astronomical associations, although there's still much more to understand. AD 778 to 850, Borobudur, Indonesia. Hidden under layers of volcanic ash and jungle vegetation until 1835, Borobudur is the largest Buddhist temple in the world. Yet we still don't know much about its construction or original purpose, with historians left to compare the thousands of carved reliefs for clues. It's believed to have taken 75 years to build with andesite, gray volcanic rocks, taken from adjacent quarries which were cut, transported, and laid without mortar. AD 803, Leshan Giant Buddha, China. You'll find the aptly named Leshan Giant Buddha carved into red sandstone cliffs in southwest China. It took the Tang dynasty 90 years to build the tallest Buddha sculpture in the world, and with that comes impressive engineering. Behind Buddha's 23-foot, 7 m, ears is a functioning drainage system that has stopped erosion of the 233-foot, 71 m, tall sculpture. Thanks to the softer sandstone material, craftsmen were able to show off their skills in creating symmetrical features. 1,021 buns in his coiled hair and feet so large that up to 100 people could squeeze onto them. AD 550 to 750, Ellora Caves, India. This sacred site is home to Hindu, Buddhist, and Jain temples carved out from volcanic basalt stone. Among the decorated caves is the Grand Kailasa Temple, which, at 104 feet, 32 meters, high, is the largest rock-cut monument in the world. It was built out from the sloping basalt hill and features a 3-story town with an octagonal dome. Then there's the architecture. AD 300, Sherbam, Yemen. You might not think the desert would be home to the oldest skyscraper city in the world, but the 1,700-year-old town of Sherbam proves otherwise. Nicknamed the Chicago or Manhattan of the desert, some 500 mud brick towers were built to protect from flooding and as a vantage point for incoming attackers. While many have been rebuilt, Sherbam shows one of the earliest examples of multi-storied vertical structures in the world. Buildings span between 5 to 11 stories, with some reaching heights of 100 feet, 30 meters. AD 1 to 250, Teotihuacan, Mexico City, Mexico. Northeast of Mexico City lies Teotihuacan, where you'll find some of the largest pyramid-like structures outside of Egypt. They once formed a 22-mile-wide, 35 kilometers, metropolis with a grid-like structure that aligned with key geographic, geodetic, and celestial points. It's pretty impressive stuff when you consider the pyramids of the Sun and Moon were built between AD 1 and 250. 300 BC. AD 100, Al-Khazna, Petra, Jordan. At 80 feet, 24 meters, wide and 127 feet, 38 meters, tall, the Al-Khazna, or the treasury, was constructed using simple iron tools and hammers. This 2-story sandstone sculpture was carved out of the pink sandstone cliffs by nomads to include massive columns and mythological creatures, inspired by ancient Greece and Rome. You might not expect to see such a structure in the desert, but Petra formed part of the ancient trade route between Arabia, Egypt, and the Mediterranean Sea. AD 72, Colosseum, Rome, Italy. When you think of impressive ancient buildings, Rome's Colosseum likely comes to mind. Measuring 617 feet, 188 meters, in length, 511 feet, 156 meters, in width, and 187 feet, 57 meters, in height, around 80,000 spectators flocked to watch gladiator fights, executions, and battle reenactments. The oval-shaped building was constructed from stone, cement, and bricks and bound with iron clamps. There's still great debate about whether the Colosseum was filled with water for naval battle recreations. AD 5, Sigiriya, Sri Lanka. Sigiriya, or Lion Rock, is an ancient fortress carved into a 656-foot, 200 m, vertical rock face near Dambulla. During its long history, it served as a royal palace and monastery and is made up of a citadel, upper palace, gardens, fresco mirror wall, and lion-shaped gateway. There was remarkable engineering at play here, with canals, lakes, and water pumps providing water, demonstrating skilled urban planning and advanced technology of the time. 50 BC, Aqueduct of Segovia, Spain. The Aqueduct of Segovia supplied water from the Frio River to the city into the 20th century. While the remaining portion stands at 94 feet, 28.5 meters, the pillars and arches of this 2-story arcade were made of solid stone blocks and needed little restoration work until the 15th and 16th centuries. Stretching 8.6 miles, 14 kilometers, across the rolling landscape, the lower arches alternate in height and clearly show the engineering prowess of the Roman Empire. 221 BC, Great Wall of China. One of the most famous walls of all time, the Great Wall of China stretches 13,000 miles, 21,196 kilometers, across the country's northern border, from Shanhaiguan in the east to the Gobi Desert in the west. Thousands upon thousands of workers are thought to have constructed the wall, built to protect both Chinese land and culture. It was first completed around 221 BC, but it's been repaired and built over the years. The Ming Dynasty, 1368 to 1644, added garrisons and watchtowers. 247 BC, Terracotta Army, Xi'an, China. One of the most exciting archaeological discoveries in history, Xi'an's Terracotta Army is nothing short of awe-inspiring. And huge. Around 8,000 pottery soldiers and archers, 130 chariots, and 520 horses were unearthed in 3 pits in an area spanning 215,278 square feet, 20,000 sqm. It's believed this army guards the body of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, who died in 210 BC and whose tomb lies around a mile, 1.6 kilometers, away. It took some 700,000 workers 40 years to build this impressive site by hand with basic tools. 300 BC, La Donta, El Mirador, Guatemala. Like Egypt, El Mirador has a similar, yet somehow more impressive, story. Now located inside the Mirador Rio Azul National Park, this pre-classic Mayan city was completed at some point between 600 BC to AD 100. Its largest pyramid is La Donta, at 230 feet, 70 meters, tall. It hasn't been swallowed up by the jungle like other structures. It's estimated that some 15 million days of labor were used to create this still-standing pyramid. 300 BC, Sanchi Stupa, India. How beautiful is the Sanchi Stupa? One of the oldest stone structures in India, it was first built around 300 BC to house relics of the Buddha and stood 54 feet, 16 meters, high. Around 185 BC the stupa was reconstructed to double its original size. Stone slabs were reused to create a flattened dome, atop which stand 3 structures symbolizing Dharma, the Wheel of Law. It currently stands at 71 feet, 21.6 meters, high, and among the carved gateways, staircases, and top-level platform you'll spot intricate carvings and reliefs. 423 BC, Parthenon, Athens, Greece. The Parthenon is undoubtedly one of the most recognizable temples in the world. Just under 45 feet, 13 meters, tall, it was built in honor of the Greek goddess Athena by thousands of ancient Athenians who extracted, transported, and lifted huge quantities of marble. They used enormous pulley systems and wooden cranes which were innovative at the time. They were able to lift a 10-ton marble to a height of 49 feet, 15 meters, in just 20 minutes. 450 BC, Persepolis Gate of All Nations, Iran. The colossal Gate of All Nations was constructed in Persepolis, modern-day Iran, during the reign of Xerxes and was a meeting place for kings, royalty, and nobles of the Achaemenid kings. The mud block structure features huge pivot doors which were likely made of wood and covered in decorated metal, while Ionic columns stand in the central hall at 52 feet, 16.5 meters, high. The most monumental, and slightly daunting, of them all are the carved giant bulls and mythological creatures that guard the entranceway to ward off evil spirits. 900 to 700 BC, Van Fortress, Turkey. Van Fortress sits on a steep precipice overlooking Tushpa, near modern-day Van. Rubble stone, mud brick, and cut stone material were used to construct this hilltop complex, and its 8 rock-cut tombs with 29-foot, 9 m, tall chambers are nothing short of amazing. It would have required precise mathematical and architectural knowledge to construct the complex and demonstrates Urartian architects as some of the most skillful in the Near East. 900 BC, Chand Bauri, Rajasthan, India. Chand Bauri is awe-inspiring both in its appearance and construction. Built in the 10th century to supply water to the Abhanari village in eastern Rajasthan, its 3,500 steps descend some 64 feet, 19.5 meters, into the earth and is one of the world's largest and deepest step wells in the world. Its symmetrical geometry is incredible, especially when you consider it was built with simple tools. This ancient site also features an enclosed rectangular courtyard with windows, a three-storied pavilion, pillar-supported galleries, and sculpture-clad balconies. 2500 BC, Stonehenge, Wiltshire, England, UK. The mighty circle of stones rising from the Salisbury Plain still baffles experts. Erected in the late Neolithic period, the mystery of how, and why, the enormous sarsen stones and smaller bluestones were transported from Pembrokeshire has fascinated people for centuries. Evidence suggests part of the famous stone circle was first built near the Pembrokeshire coast before being dismantled and rebuilt in Wiltshire. Fascinatingly, this masterpiece of engineering was created using only simple tools and technologies. 2550 BC, Pyramids of Giza, Egypt. It's still somewhat of a mystery as to how the ancient Egyptians constructed the pharaoh's pyramids, although there are a couple of supported theories that lead the way. The ramp theory suggests they shifted stones with ropes, sleds, and wet sand, to reduce friction, up spiraling ramps, whereas the water shaft theory discusses how specially created canals transported the materials. However it was achieved, immense strength, and manpower, was used in the decade or so it took to construct each pyramid. In return, their long-lasting legacy is reflected as one of the 7 wonders of the world. 3000 to 2000 BC, Great Bath, Pakistan. Mesopotamia, 800 BC, 2000 BC, was a time of great design and remarkable engineering, and this is showcased in modern-day Pakistan's Great Bath. This rectangular-shaped bath was likely used for special occasions and ceremonies with 2 wide staircases leading down to it. Measuring 38 feet, 11.8 meters long, 22 feet, 7 meters wide and up to 8 feet, 2.43 meters deep, baked bricks were used in its construction with a natural tar material to keep it watertight. An adjacent well provided water, and there was also an established drainage outlet, along with adjoining rooms likely used for changing. 9600 to 8200 BC, Göbekli Tepe. Only discovered in 1994, Göbekli Tepe is considered the world's oldest religious complex. Excavations revealed vast limestone pillars set in circles, 6 temples, and megaliths carved with lions, scorpions, and snakes. As to how these 50-ton T-shaped pillars were shifted into position by hunter-gatherers remains a mystery. This, along with the belief that there are still more temples to unearth, is nothing short of spectacular. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. By doing so, you'll never miss out on our latest content, and you'll be helping us to create even more amazing videos for you in the future. Thank you for your support.